From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on day 2, and once again, the track has survived.
I was up here yesterday, and it was funny. It was similar to this when we were here doing this show starting yesterday, overcast. But by the time I got done, the sun had come out. And the entire afternoon was actually a gorgeous afternoon. It was a little hot and humid. There was a breeze going. But they were announcing throughout the afternoon we're expecting some storms later on, so we're going to push up the post times, which they did. And it timed out perfectly because I think it gave everybody just enough time to get to their car before the sky opened up. I had come back here. My car was parked right out here, and so I came back to the trailer to print up some PPs. And I was stuck in the trailer for about 15 or 20 minutes or so as it really came down, and then kind of cleared up and it was gone. But it was
one of those Saratoga storms that we talk about, we come to expect in the summertime, particularly if you live in the Capital District and you're here all the time, all of the summer. I was home in Albany, and it was pouring while I was having dinner, which was about 6:30, for about 20 to 30 minutes. I said to my wife, who was getting a little nervous because there was lightning bolts, I said, well, typically when it rains this hard, it doesn't rain that long. Yeah. And as with you, it was almost like a faucet. It turned right off. It didn't diminish. It went to zero. So
I was sitting in there putting up the PPs. All of a sudden the phone vibrates. So I turn around and it's a storm alert. Yeah, it's like, for the next so many high winds, but get inside a sturdy location. I'm kind of looking around the trailer, thinking I'm not sure this qualifies.
Fits the definition.
But luckily, a couple of minutes later.
So we hope everybody else. Kudos to Naira moving up the post time. So one thing I'll say, I suspect it cost them money. I saw some of Dave Grenning's things. But the one thing I was thinking about, I know you're not a big baseball fan, but they've changed a lot of rules in baseball, and they basically have wrung out about 30 to 40 minutes, and you didn't miss anything. They still played the baseball game, and that's what I felt like yesterday. They got us out of about 30 or 35 minutes earlier, and I didn't miss anything. I think it kind of had the old 28 minutes in between races that, sort of grew up with 29 versus 34, which adds up, 8 minutes, half hour, but there'll be some information forthcoming. It's the second day of the meet. I think we can probably connect the dots with some things, but we'll wait for Naira to do it. One quick note, because we love them. But last year I tried to get Mark Henning off the duck on day 1. I was a year early. I also might be a year and a day early when we get to our picks later on. But we love him on the show. I mean, not only his weather forecast, but he's a terrific young man, younger than me, so young man, and he runs a great operation. He had a first-time starter win earlier in the Naira meet, which is not Mark's forte. But and the other news of the day, if I was a headline writer, and you've had more media stuff than me, did you do much print? You weren't a print guy, right? You're a.
I have. There was a season where I did a weekly recap in the Saratogian.
My headline would have been today: Schuylerville with the apostrophe to shorten up, : they knew. We always talk about, or it is often talked about, in quieter races, claiming something. But Gary Contessa knew in a graded stakes at Saratoga, he could put one over. That's it. They knew. He knew. The way that horse ran, Seth, there's no way he didn't know he had I'm not going to say a beast, but he had to know. And it's Becky's Joker, who I think became the first horse to win a graded stakes in its debut at Saratoga.
Yeah,
and she crushed them.
Yeah, I got two things on that.
Okay, what do you got?
First, my best bet yesterday was the 20-1 first-time starter in the second race from contest.
Yes.
I had the wrong first time.
And I was like, why is it the Into Mischief running in the...
So that killed me. But then...
And she wasn't the longest price on the board.
Second, yeah,
I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
you're just like, not that that's a big thing, but you're like, well, go ahead.
But then,
what was your other thing?
I got a text from our former colleague here, Jeff Carl, who was reminiscing sitting in with you. He said some years ago, I can't remember when it was. He said, as we move into the 21st century and racing changes, he said, I wonder how long it is before a maiden wins a graded stakes race up here at Saratoga. Boom, there. Well,
I think the maiden had happened. Heck, I mean, Good Magic.
Well, a debut,
but a debuter.
That's what he said.
Okay, the debut is the part that's
what he said.
And how she just blew him out. And the other thing that...
and Gary in the winner's circle afterwards was just a few.
And he's supposed to be.
And a lot of it was he had retired from the game. Last couple of years, he's been down at Delaware. So he returns to Saratoga on day one with a debut runner, wins a graded stakes race. I'm going to have him in next week. I tried to get him in tomorrow.
Well,
and he was headed out of town for a couple of days. So we'll get him in to talk about it next week.
And one of the, I got crushed. My horse, I think, ran second to last. But one of the things that I tried to make the point was, Wine on Tap, I figured was going to run less well. Like, I don't know the figure. Andy Serling has probably tweeted out. I don't know what the figure was that Becky's Joker received. But the idea that I had was that Wine on Tap wasn't going to supersede her 74 in the debut. And running less than that brought almost everybody into the mix. Carmelita, I think, became like the buzz horse in the group. The other thing I was almost shocked by, Seth, was the 4 scratches. I thought that was that's a lot. And I had commented how the field of 11 was beefy, but we ended up having 4 scratches in the race.
75.
So Wine on Tap did regress.
Oh, yeah.
And enough to open the door for everybody, including a debut winner. And I've said this before, Seth. You get those scintillating 90s for debut winners for juveniles. I'm not hot on those horses. I want my juvenile to run like Becky's Joker did yesterday. A nice 70, maybe 81 top, room to grow. They don't have much room to grow when they run that 92, in my opinion. But great day. Mark Henning, like I said, our friend, Gary Contessa, right off the bat.
I have the wrong Contessa, and he's not known for firsters. And I thought, that's second round. I like the horse.
And what I read,
and I'm going to watch that horse. That horse has enough win early breeding. And I mentioned it yesterday. The horse in the second race, he had some siblings who took a start to figure it out. That one, and he didn't. That horse didn't run well enough that I think the odds will get hit next time. So
that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Run worse, run worse, run worse.
So I think, keep my eyes on that one going forward. For me, I felt like I was treading water. I got the meet off to a very good start, won the first race, and then you think, oh, great start. And then I felt like I was treading water all day
I think
long,
I've only had the meet winner opener like 3 times in my life. And one of them was a Wayne Lucas runner that might have been 4 to 5. So that I don't really count that one.
To get off the schneid
and so Irad had the $18 winner, so that helps his ROI for a little while.
We have.
I think I was correct on the Chad Brown runner. How's her name pronounced? Somalia. She was 8 to 5, and I said lower, and I think she went off at even money. So that's a trend that just keeps on keeping on. But nice opening day. I mean, 2 jockeys had 2 winners.
Yeah, I was going to say
so Irad. Fabian Ply.
Every race was a different trainer, so it's a 10-way tie for the trainers. But Flavian Prat, Javier Castellano with the stakes win gets off to a good start, and Irad all 3 had 2 wins. So that was the human side of things yesterday. And announced attendance 29,000.
Tremendous.
And again, as we sat here yesterday,
Tremendous.
watching, we kind of can get a feel for traffic that goes by. It seemed a little light, and I think there was people
Seems light today.
who were I think there were people who were maybe looking at the weather forecast and kind of with 40 days still to go, and then you got.
I think that's one of the big changes. I think if I was
definitely.
Even if I was a rabid fan and didn't do this professionally, I would be in that boat with when there was 24. I didn't miss one. There were like 4, 5 years. There was a run for me. I didn't miss a day. You just wouldn't give one up. Yeah. Now with 40, I think as an even-minded person, I'd be like, not today. Yeah. And there's also more outlets to watch it than there were in the 80s. So, including what you're watching right now with Seth and myself. So, first round's done. With the storm, probably killed your nightlife.
That was funny too, though. I'm sitting in there printing. It is the sky opens up. It's pouring. Yes. But a band was going gangbusters across the street.
Better than the mail carriers.
There was no break under the tent with the storm. God bless them all.
We'll throw it's the horseshoe in. It's right. I'm staring at it right now, and so they not.
Usually
it's another thing. Youth is not deterred by weather.
Yeah, exactly. Usually I'll mingle around a little bit and maybe make a zero stop and a horseshoe stop. But yesterday,
social arena this time of year.
Yesterday I think was not going to happen.
Anything else from opening day? I saw you down there mugging for the feature when I saw you. I saw Tim. I saw Mike. Adam. I saw you.
I was trying to grab Gary to come on tomorrow, but he's headed out of town. His son's
playing. Oh, like Tom Amos is another one. Just put him on and he can go.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
Well,
outstanding.
Just standing there. I was kind of standing back and letting the press guys go up there with their questions.
Your famous shot with your camera.
Exactly.
I see you almost all the time.
I popped out a shot on Twitter, but I was just kind of listening, waiting to walk up and ask Gary to come on, and the interview was great.
Seth, time out.
Questions at him.
Seth, who's nervous, doesn't wear a wristwatch, doesn't like the phone, brings us a clock 8 minutes ago, and it's already toast.
No, I just got to push the battery further in. It didn't have a cover on the back, and when the show started, I looked down and saw the second hand wasn't going. I said, I gotta next break. I'll
brings
jump
a dead clock. All right, I think we should up to the DePaula play of the day, and Steve Bick got a little run yesterday with what was it? Stone Destiny. He had we had Stoney, but so today I'm guessing Kevin Cox, if they're alternating, but we'll find out.
I think Kevin said yesterday he's Fridays and Sundays.
All right, the DePaula play of the day.
Or click.
This week's Chevy Silverado is just $549 a month with zero do-it inception. Yes, zero down.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with your DePaula play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We'll be giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we'll be basing our success on a 50-win, 30-place, $20 show wager. And last year, we showed a flat bet profit for the entire stand. We're rocking our traditional red and white colors for the opening week, and we're going to start out with race number 2, number 1, Heroes Medal. Right off the bat, you can feel free to draw an upwards arrow alongside the speed figures, as this one has shown steady improvement over each start, culminating with a 26-1 placing at the P-Patch, Ellis Park, and well-traveled sort now visits his 4th different venue from his many outings to date. Those who know us best know we like to utilize the DRF formulator platform in our handicapping methodology. And this race is no different, as we have not one, but 2 sets of trainer stats in play. Over the last 5 years, Albert Stoll has won with 4 of 8 of those runners fitting in these exact same parameters that we have today. Any track, any jockey. Off breaks of less than 38 days at 15-1 or under. Like we said, he's 4 of 8 in that regards, and the average winning price was $7 per winner. But wait, there's more. Over that same time frame, there was also a separate stat regarding this jockey-trainer combination on the dirt at 11-1 or less, off breaks of more than a dozen days, as they're a whopping 9 for 17 in that regards, with an average win price of more than $9 per winner. As none of those stats overlap, that makes them 13 for 25 in some highly pertinent areas. So once again, our DePaula play of the day for Friday, race number 2 at Saratoga, is number 1 Heroes Medal, and we'll see you at the track.
When you think trucks, think DePaula.
The all-new 2024 Chevy Trax is here. Bigger, roomier, seats 5, and lots of technology. And just $419 a month, 0 down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back with me.
Yeah, no, I didn't know whether you heard the countdown.
Oh, okay. I heard the 3, 2, and then I didn't hear go, but I just counted in my head. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for day 2 of the Saratoga 2023 meet. The opener, state bred 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weights, 5.5 on the dirt.
Yes. I didn't mention at the top, as usual, over on the front side. And again, always appreciated. Feel free to walk up and say hello. And I had a lot of that yesterday, and a lot of folks come up and just say they really enjoy the programming. You know, we always like to hear that.
Seth, they said you had 2 winners yesterday. We tied on opening day. We're playing chess. It's a draw on the opening day with the TU.
There we go. There we go.
It's like the scene in Vegas Vacation. We didn't lose.
That was on the other night, but the first one
the first one at the Suns' role in Vegas Vacation saves the movie for me.
Yeah, like I say, the first one I kind of
tremendous.
But I also a couple of people wanted me to pass on that they're Anthony Mormino fans. And
thank you.
Somebody was talking about they enjoy how colorful you are, and I think they're talking the sartorial side of things. I'm
thinking clothes. By the way, today is perhaps a Seth Merrow one. It's a little shiny for you.
No.
Yesterday was definitely not yours.
No.
That pink one, that's way.
Yeah, and what was I watching? I was watching something that more before I was watching the Spectrum News, and Dan, is it Brazil or Brazil?
Dan Brazil.
But I've
known Dan. He was at 13 during my years there.
He was wearing a pink tie. So
he's a great dresser.
And I thought that looks pretty good. And so when I went to get mine, I went.
So you're getting your fashion tips from Spectrum News. Okay. One quick thing, the other day, I know it's not called this, but I call it Indiana Grand. Was it Horseshoe, Indiana? Okay. They ran maiden special weights 2-year-olds at a mile the other day, going 2 turns. It was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I first thought, well, maybe maiden claimers, but I looked at I was like, geez, that's awfully early to be going a mile on the dirt.
Yeah.
So we got state breds going 5.5. That seems to be more, I'll call it traditional for me.
I jump into this with a tepid,
I can't wait to see.
A tepid top pick. 4, 6, 1, and 2. I put Book of Wisdom on top.
We have the whole field covered. Wait till you see these. Wait till these pop up.
It's that kind of
race. There you go.
Like I say, I'm not in with a whole lot of confidence. I just thought this one.
That's
Bill Mott is. I have it for.
That's opening day, and I apologize if I apologize if that's me. But that was. I know for a fact that was my selection for yesterday, opening day. I heard what Seth said for his numbers, and I see my 285, and I knew we had 75% of the field covered. And sometimes you throw in a fourth one. Who was your fourth one?
4, 6, 1, 2.
All right, the 2 is my top pick, is your fourth pick, but we'll continue on. I apologize if I sent in I thought I did it right yesterday, but there's a good chance I did. So we'll just go forward. And
I know I did. I'm reasonably certain.
I was being polite. I'm reasonably certain I did too, Seth. Trying to take the bullet for the team. Team sport.
Book of Wisdom, though, to Bill Mott training. Bill Mott, okay with firsters.
Beast yesterday, and everybody knew.
So, yeah.
Boom.
Solomini, the sire, 5 first-time starters, a win, a second, and a third, so getting off to a nice go there. There was a sibling called Reveneer that was second in debut and then won the second start. So I thought that was a little win early, trainer, sire, and whatnot, just enough to go in that direction because there wasn't anyone else that was kind of like, oh, they're jumping off the page. Awesome check. This is the first foal of the dam. But Mendelssohn also is a nice little win early sire. Horacio de Paz trainee, I think, could be a player in debut. Again, in kind of what seems like, unless somebody surprises, maybe a kind of mediocre group of maiden specialists. Run for Your Honey in the third spot. Experience does count, and this horse certainly could benefit from that. It's also interesting they started on the turf. And now go over to the dirt today. I wouldn't be surprised, as I say, to see a much improved.
It's the only race on the card. All the rest are firsters.
Oh,
and that's the only race. Yeah, was that turf run.
2 of the siblings for that one weren't much, however, but one of them improved on turf. So again, I had mixed messages from Run for Your Honey as well.
If your man wins this race and pays $26, you're out of his club. The 5.
Yeah, no,
you're out of the club. If Mike
Deeney
sends out owner trainer Stormy Disco, who, by the way, I have in the mix as an Offspring of Disco partner.
And that you brought it up is probably a good thing because maybe me off because it was when I was doing the afternoon the other day down at Monmouth. I don't think I had one of his horses in the mix there and wins it like 7-1. You're kidding me.
All right, I'm 285. I talked about it yesterday. I didn't get any phone calls here, but Joe Sharp sends out the 2 Concerti. Is that a word in a different language? Probably should have woken our son up and asked him.
Well, by Mendelssohn.
Yeah, Mendelssohn. So, I just, taking a flyer. The last work was, and sometimes I'm more of a second to last work, but the last work from the gate, the go button for me, Poseidon's Mist on the outside, steady works. And then at Monmouth came to Saratoga and kept it up. And then number 5, Stormy Disco, an Offspring of Disco partner who was a terrific 5, 5.5, 6 furlong runner. Scares me. Not that this counts, but when we were talking yesterday off the air, I said that the Bill Mott horse scared me a lot. I thought that race was wide open, and that was a good performance. But 285, and guys, great job getting it up. Those are the selections for Seth and myself in today's opener.
Race number 2 on Friday afternoon. We are looking at more maiden specials, this time 9 furlongs in the trip.
And we love David Aragona's work. We are in great hands. One of the most important jobs to the public, besides jurisdictions, is the morning line. And he's done a fantastic job. He's shown he'll make horses 2 to 5 on the morning line, and here I'm 3, 4, 6. And for horizontals, I guess this is like that free spot or something. For a vertical player like me, this is a skip race. But Dreamlike is 3 to 5 on the board as a maiden who exits the Wood Memorial. So there you have it. It's an Offspring, a gun runner going 9 furlongs. I think it's one of those situations Andy Beyer used to have a term for when all of your speed figures, or 3 of them, are better than anybody else has produced in the field. Dreamlike with Irad Ortiz, 3 to 5 might be light.
Yeah.
And then I have the 4 for Chad Brown, second time starter. Love the debut. I will say this. In New York, I'm suspicious, particularly of the teletimer on dirt and Beyer speed figures at 6.5 furlongs. We could get into Quality Roads, Amsterdam up here later in the meet on a slow weekday. But the debut was a very hardy debut. Obviously, we're pushing a stone up. And you saw, what was it, virtual in the first yesterday, virtual.
It was virtual something.
It just got tired. I mean, it was 153 and change. Looked like, but second career start going 9 is tough. Well, for a third ride up, if I was looking for a horse, this horse is 10 to 1 that maybe you can make a one punch exacta 3-6, which is not something I'm proposing here. This is a pass race for me, but you're not allowed to do it as a public handicapper. So 3, 4, 6.
I'm right in the same boat. 3, 6, and 4. Dreamlike, they paid just under $1 million. This is a horse that probably shouldn't still be a maiden. 3 very close-up finishes, including trying the Wood Memorial as a maiden. It's Rapoli, it's Pletcher, a son of Gunrunner. Irod Ortiz on board. I deserved favorite. Ride Up, the horse you like from Linda Rice, I think off the latest effort, is intriguing. And I put Okasik in the 3rd spot. And again, do you buy into that debut number? Because the follow-up wasn't as good, but that was on a sloppy track. And I'm wondering, Okasik, Shenani's song, The Dam, was that a Cars song?
I don't know, I'm not a big Cars guy. Although
Rick Ocasek, Cars, right? Wasn't he? Yes.
I don't know about the song, but I will say this: I think 79 or 80, leading up to one of my latter years of high school, they were the Buzz concert at Saratoga at the Cars. All right, on to the 3rd race. Scheduled for 1 mile and 16th on the inner. Let me check. Did you see anything on Twitter from Andy Serling or anybody about being off the turf already?
Oh, that's a good call.
David Grenning is usually quick. Mark Henning is quick.
Leave me in and you can look while
Okay. So it's at this moment, 3-year-olds, optionals in for 62, 1X, scheduled for 1 mile and 16th on the inner.
And I have the same 2, turf or dirt anyway. 1, 3, 4, 6. Well, it's the same 3. On the dirt, I went 1, 3, 4, 2. But I put number 1, Love and Laughter, on top. This is the 3rd start back this season. Nice improvement. Start 1 to start 2 for Mike Trombetta. And those were improved numbers off of the 2-year-old season. So I think she's come back improved. She maybe is continuing to improve. I'll put her on top. Beautiful Navigator in the 2nd spot. A couple of duds on the resume. One of them, though, was on the dirt. And the last one was the graded stake at Keeneland. So maybe that was a little too salty. With this group, I think Beautiful Navigator plays. And then G. Laurie.
Our man is so good. Double thumbs up from Mark Henning.
Yeah, he's the go-to guy.
Today's grass races are off the turf. 5, 6, and 9, the same distances. 3 and 10. Which is 3. It's just us here. Now we run out of the Wilson chute at 1 mile. And Andy Serling also posted, I'm not surprised at all, that Sugar High got a higher speed, buyer speed figure, the 80, than Becky's Joker got winning the Schuylerville. And I'm not surprised at all. I didn't think the Schuylerville going in, just by the nature of racing today's day and age. So a couple of thanks to Andy Serling and Mark Henning. So these will be 3-year-olds at 1 mile out of the Wilson chute, which, for years it was tough for trainers. You had to run 7 furlongs or 1 mile and 8. And that was a big gap. And in today's day and age, that's a bad, big gap.
Yeah.
So this mile is, you can tell. I mean, obviously they tried it 30 years ago unsuccessfully. And here they made a big effort. They changed it up. You knew they were going to stick it out. So we're going to go 1 mile on the dirt, and I'm suspecting there'll be moisture in the racetrack. I just, it's not.
Again, it was brief, but it was
substantial.
Super heavy. Yeah, no question about it. Again, on the dirt, I have the same 3 on top: 1, 3, 4, and 2, because there's nothing that jumped off the page here looking at the dirt record. So again, 1, 3, 4, and 2 for me with Life, Love, and Laughter on.
Now here's the thing for me, and I've said this before, I've said it to my bosses for years. When you do it at 9, you got to handicap who's staying in. And for example here, the 1, the 3, the 4, the 9, the 8, the 6, the 5 are on the very suspicious list to stay in. But you have to figure a couple are going to stay in because I only didn't list 2 horses. Now, I will say this, Seth. The 2 moves way up, gets in the mix because you have Curlin and Medaglia d'Oro on the bottom side. Medaglia d'Oro in our day would have been one of those circles with an X, a superior mud runner. If you're going back 40 plus years ago, the form.
And only a dirt record in the off the turf was the maiden breaker. So
you're thinking, boy, they're definitely staying in. If I was, and I like their chances. They're going to be a mile. If you think that my top pick, the 1, is coming out, who only has turf races, now I get the inside. I'm going with Luis Saez, and I'm down the road. So to me, the 2 parts to this race. It's hard to imagine this, Seth, but if I made an over-under, I'd have 4 coming out.
Yeah, this is one of those, as you say, at this time of the morning,
handicap who's
part
staying
of it is
in,
deciding who's in and who's out. And these are the kind of races where, as I did, I'll often keep my picks just the same, because sometimes the best horse is just the best horse.
And I always think if the trainers
know who's coming out,
and if the trainer's willing to stay in, I'm riding with it. Yeah. If I had to guess, I'm thinking the 2 and the 7 are the only 2 that I would have strong thoughts are staying in. But a couple others are going to stay in because, I mean, heck, purse is $150,000. I'm staying in, but I don't know which one.
Oftentimes stays in, but the 6 has the European breeding.
Yeah, and I'm thinking here's the difference, that obviously they ran into the Penn Oaks in their second start, beaten favorite. So I'm thinking they think bigger and better things. You're not going to risk it type thing. But Modern Love really, for me, if it's a field of 4 or 5, and then I'm thinking maybe Stephanie's Charm, a Distorted Humor, would stay in. But, a big question here. I guess
for folks who are
Venetia ran on a Tapeta surface or an artificial surface in the debut, but very difficult for what we do.
Yeah, and for folks who are out there, you're new to the game. And again, I always figured that
there's no MTOs, by the way.
How do I parse out my dirt picks? If they're MTOs, always look at them, regardless of how they look, because I guarantee sometime during the meet we'll get an MTO that wins at a big price, as people will ignore that. But you also look for a horse like the 2, who has some dirt form. But you can also look at the workouts, because most of the workouts for most of these horses will be on the dirt, regardless if they're turf horses. And sometimes you see them working well on the dirt, which I think gives you.
By the way, also, Mark Henning's winner yesterday was the second also eligible. There was 1 scratch in the main body. Right. The also eligibles are listed in order that they get to choose. And then the first AE chose not to run. So I'm wondering, I think our man knew. You've fallen into it when you're second.
He
wanted that spot.
You get a little,
and you're way outside the 14. Is it time for the dark horse?
Yeah, dark horse play of the day before we take our next break. Dark horse play of the day today is race number 7. It's a plain vanilla claimer, 3/4 of a mile. I'm going to go with First Deputy, Jamie Begg, runner, former Mark Cassidy assistant. Claimed this horse 2 back out of a good try behind No More Talk. And this is a race where I also had a play of the day, and I'm tossing out these plays now. Times Union and WTN, and so I'm not sure where I wrote it. But I said, I think an exacta box of the top 2 is interesting here, because 2 starts back, the number 3 horse, No More Talk, won, and running second, a close-up second, was First Deputy. But I'm tilting towards First Deputy today because on the morning line, No More Talk is 2-1. First Deputy is 10-1. And 2 races back, they were right next to each other. They both come off of a little more disappointing of an effort, but I think they're both getting back to a more suitable claiming level. And so I thought First Deputy, Dylan Davis mentioned yesterday, comes into the meet with a little momentum over the past couple of weeks. So again, dark horse play of the day, race number 7, horse number 6, First Deputy. And again, we tell everybody to frequent the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga on Broadway. We appreciate their sponsorship. You'll have a lot of fun browsing through the Dark Horse Mercantile and their sister store down the street, Impressions of Saratoga. So keep that in mind if you come up here during the meet.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, the middle, pick 4.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, live from Saratoga, Clare Court. Seth, Merrow, Anthony, Mormino.
Right now.
Taking a look at the Friday card. Yeah, the sun is popping out again.
Little breeze.
It looks like. Yeah, no, nice. Currently, fourth race today at Saratoga. Stakes action. It is the Wilton. Field of only 5 in here, but they're going to vie for a purse of $135,000, and they're going to come out of that 1 mile chute.
So that's less than the allowance race before it.
Oh, well, with the Breed New York, yeah.
This one's scheduled for the 1 mile Wilson Chute. Are they still? Do they call it the Wilson Chute?
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay, 453 for me. A seed for Chad Brown is going to be a short price. It's 8 to 5 in the morning line. Flavian Prod, and it's not stupid to say. I think he's going to have a very good meet, and I mean, better than like he's been here. He's done this, and I think he's going to improve in getting this mount and getting into Chad Brown barn. Cuts back after the Acorn at a mile and 16th, the old Mother Goose distance for second. Number 5, Randomized, who's 7 to 5 on the board. The other Chad Brown horse comes out of the Acorn after breaking the maiden. And for third, Sacred Wish, George Weaver's winner. A good effort with moisture in the racetrack, most recently exiting the poor effort in the Black Eyed Susan. So 4-5-3 in the Wilton.
I went with the 5. I mean, 5 horse field and the big number in the maiden breaker at a mile down at Aqueduct. I couldn't get past that. I think just a little over. That's a tough ask to come out of a maiden breaker and start number 2 and step into a grade 1. Pretty mischievous. Is very, very talented. Dorth Vader, talented as well. So I'm going to give that one a little bit of a pass and think this is a better field to rebound. Sacred Wish for George Weaver, coming off a nice second in an optional claimer, comes in, I think, in good form and a seed. The number 2 back in the 8 bells in only the second career start, again, becomes kind of the other Chad and Juddmont. This one's also very playable in here, but for me, 5, 3, and 4.
All right, on to the 5th. Remember, we're off the turf, and one of the thinking behind 5.5 furlong turf races was when they came off the turf, they would stay strikingly similar as a dirt race. So,
another race where I didn't change anything up because there's no MTOs, and this is one where, as I mentioned before, my top pick has a very good dirt workout coming in. 7, 10, 9, and 5 was using that horse on the turf. But, again, the dirt debut wasn't very good. But the turf follow-up wasn't either. But if you look, had trouble in both starts. So I'm kind of going to give the horse a pass on that. And what attracted me, turf or dirt, but dirt is fine. That bullet workout coming in. I think this horse is going to run better. Paid $250,000. It's a Shug McGahee training, Tyler Gaffleone on board. And again, that work just kind of attracts me, and we're getting a little bit of a price. Horse could be interesting. Now, I will say, 2 starts, I will learn more today, but I do often get the feeling horses just sometimes seem trouble prone. We'll learn more about this one, though. With only
especially
2 starts.
If you're slow.
Yeah, and that could be the factor, but we'll see. I am rooting for Scherzando, however, and see if we can get our man Steve Bick into the winner's circle at Saratoga. Scherzando is a DT Stables runner. That's the nom de plume of Steve Bick and his partners.
Maybe he could text us if he's staying in, which I suspect he is.
Yeah. Has been running well, but he has dirt starts underneath also, and some of those fit nicely with this group. Empire Sky, again, the dirt start 2 and 3 back were good enough to mix it up with this bunch, I think. So again, I don't change things up. 7, 10, 9, and 5.
And I wouldn't ask Steve to diverge, but we've talked often years before about the difference between what we do and an owner's take. Like, for example, this is the 18th start for Steve Suarez. They have banked 6 figures so far in the maiden special weight. You kind of wonder if that's not a completely awful thing.
I think he'd love to be in the winner's.
Well, I'd like to win here because what is it here today? Oh, they only run for 88, the New York Reds, I guess. So I'm 491. Would have been the same. I was going to take a first-time start. I thought the War Dancer angle was what I was going to go with, particularly on the turf. But solid prep races for the debut down in Mid-Atlantic prepping. So I think they're going to stay in. As much as I thought there was going to be a boatload of exodus in the other race, I think they're all staying in. So I'm 491 in here.
6th race this afternoon, an allowance, non-winners of 1 other than, and you were alluding to the person, the earlier allowance rate, just under $150,000. Although, again, part of that is that New York bred incentive for if there are.
So the purse is $115, not with the which is healthy.
And again, it was scheduled on the grass at 1 mile and 1/16th, and from what we've now read, moves over to the dirt.
Yeah, at the same distance, and you have the MTOs in here. Now, this is a race that's, I think, under the more classical design, which is, I think, my top picks coming out. You have MTOs that are 6-5, 2-1 that we're hoping for this at 9 furlongs. We'll see what post position they draw on how many defections, because let's go through this, Seth, together. The 1, 2, 3 seems suspicious to stay in. You agree? Or you can,
yes.
Okay. Yeah. 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8 seem to be coming out. At least
5 has a wet track placing, though.
All right.
So
maybe the 5 and maybe Oglethorpe, the 5 and the 8, maybe they stay in against the MTOs. So to me, this is the opposite. This is a race that they're here and they're going to dominate.
I'd be curious. The number 3 Battle of Normandy. It's owned by West Point, and if I run in, I'll ask Tommy Bellhouse if that.
Maybe he could text us. Are we staying in?
Well, I wonder if
Little
that's
help.
a factor, though, because if you get a bunch of partners to show up at Saratoga,
you're going to run?
You feel like, we'll stick in. And so, but I don't know. That I'm speculating. I don't know.
The one problem you have when
the
other problem is when you think you have a good turf force, something could happen. You don't want to have happen.
No, exactly.
To me, I think this is going to be dominated by the wagering by our Mark Henning, trying to make it 2 in a row. So we'll go. I'll just take the 9, 10, 11. I think we're going to have substantial. I think we have 2 races that are going to be hurt. 1 race that won't be hurt so far.
I went 10, 9, 8, and 11. Did go out to the MTO, Princess Spur. I mentioned Phil Bauer yesterday. Got off to such a great start at the meet last year, and this may help kick things off. They're getting the surface they wanted there. Ouster, same scenario. And then I did use Oglethorpe, who has run well in the past couple of. It was in the body of the field, but run well on dirt 2 starts back. So for me, 10, 9, 8, and 11.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the final pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These 2 arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, up to race number 7. Remember, we are off the turf today. 6 furlongs, claimers in for 16.
6, 3, 5, and 10 for me. I mentioned it earlier. Dark horse play of the day, the number 6. This one and the number 2 exit. The last 2 were the same races, but 2 starts back. They were right next to each other. No More Talk is 2-1. First Deputy is 10-1. Sign me up. And I mentioned I tossed out a play of the day in one of the locations. And I said, I'm going to box these 2 up in an exacta. Now, I may back myself up by throwing the 5 into the mix as well, because I think Cash Now may offer a little bit of a price. But second off the claim, turf to dirt move, and getting back to what I think is probably a more proper level. If we do get a price, as I say, I may also just do a little backup, throwing the 5 into my exacta mix. But 7th today, 6, 3, 5, and 10.
Well, wide open race to me. I mean, I'm not making any thoughts on yesterday's dirt racetrack, whether some of the times weren't too fast. Horses were laboring in the stretch. 10-3-7. Actually paid attention to my cardinal rule, which is I think it's wide open. I have a 6-1 shot. Charlie Baker and Joel Rosario. This is a $16,000 claim. Raced well at this price point. Most recently for second, I have number 3. No More Talk, who I think will be on the engine early for Irad, and for third, Airport. So 10-3-7 in the 7th.
Race number 8 on this Friday afternoon. We're looking at plain vanilla $50,000 claimers. 3/4 of a mile is the trip.
3-2-9, folks, for me. And C's get degrees. Okay, I guess so. Is my top pick. I said these picks in like breakfast yesterday morning, and one of the thoughts I had is that David Jacobson has gotten his sea legs. Saratoga is a meet nowadays where people who play the game like David can really make a go of it. There's plenty of action for them, and he gets Irad Ortiz. They show good early speed. I think that's beneficial in here. Dots dollar 8-5 on the morning line comes out of a tremendous effort in the most recent race. I said to you before, going 6.5 at Belmont and Saratoga, I'm a little suspicious of buyer speed figures, but the career best was off the deck in April, off the layoff, and ran a 95 and ran a 92 most recently. So this is part of Linda Rice's juggernaut. And for third, going to the outside, Nifty. So 3-2-9.
8-2-9 and 3 for me. I thought the 4 was also a little bit interesting. I put Jake Rocks on top. The Dots Dollar's the horse to beat, yes. And C's get degrees. I have that one down at the bottom. I think it's a competitive race. But I thought Jake Rocks comes in off, 5 wins in the last 6 starts, including a win last time, was claimed out of that. And albeit with a limited sample, trainer's very good off the claim. So I just thought the horse was a little bit interesting. Luisa is on board. And again, I think my top 4 and the 4 horses making my top 5, I think you could switch them up and maybe have equal confidence. Dots Dollar, again, likely the one to beat. Little class drop for the Linda Rice trainee. And then Nifty in the 3rd spot. Claimed last time down at Churchill, now moves into the barn of another very good off-the-claim trainer, Robertina Diodoro. So I think playable as well. 8th race, 8-2-9 and 3.
And apparently the pick 6 is alive in New York, over $100,000 carryover in one day. You know what's funny is I don't think people remember this, but in my senior year or junior year, they dropped the pick 6 in New York after a very short run. Their carryover then was like 50,000. They thought people didn't like the bet. Can you imagine that? Adjusted for inflation, but 100 or what? 100, almost 110,000 in one day. The carryover coming in today. When we come back, the late daily double.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Featured today, the Coronation Cup for 3-year-old fillies, now to be run 5.5 on the dirt. And I think Brittany Russell got her wish.
And there is an MTO, but I do have separate dirt picks. But I went 197-3, and we'll see if My Sweet Affair stays in. But I thought this was a horse in good form by Twirling Candy. George
Who already
Weaver
has a winner
training.
at the meet.
Yeah, and I that there are the last 2 workouts around the turf, so this horse might come out. But I thought there's nice form here, and if they stay in, I'll use My Sweet Affair on top. But L Street Lady is the main track only runner, so yeah, they get what they want, and automatically that pulls the horse into the conversation. And then Unified Alliance, the number 7 horse, Tom Morley trainee, only dirt starts on the resume, so I don't think this one is going to be up against it with the surface switch either. So for me, 197-3.
Now, I think I do not see why Love Reigns, who doesn't stay in, and I don't know why Love Appeals wouldn't stay in based on their pedigree. So I'm staying 142. L Street Lady for Brittany Russell, I don't think got the layup she might have been hoping for.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with Love Reigns. I guess I kind of decided she might come out, but
I'm staying in.
She stays in.
A war front off a bullet work in. I'm staying in here.
I think the Wesley Ward Turf Sprinter. I wasn't sure, but you might be right.
You get 90,000 if you win.
Yeah,
I'm running.
Stay in.
I think this is the opposite. I think this field doesn't change. This might be one of those rarities we saw at Keeneland when they first went to the synthetic. The field size may grow. I mean, who would come out? Maybe Violet Gibson, but you're still running for 100K. I think they're all staying in, and that's part of the guessing game in the morning. I'll stay with 142 here. I don't think L Street Lady gets the advantage that often happens in this type of situation.
It'll be interesting to see how.
And Wesley Ward plays a big spot here, whether he leave Love's Reigns in or not.
10th and final, again, scheduled for about 6:15 this evening. That was the same schedule as yesterday, but probably half an hour, 45 minutes ahead as they tried to beat the rain.
I know it
yesterday.
cost Naira, but the pace was awesome for me, just like baseball is now.
Did move right on. Baseball, though, they also have the funny, there's the rule now where guys automatically get on base. And again, I'm not as, but it's
he's looking at like, they're called a ghost runner.
It's like
because they want the games to end quicker, so you start on second base in extra innings.
This seems like a little league kind of thing to me.
Well, it's about ending games and things like
that. 10th race today, B condition claimer. Again, it was scheduled for 1 mile and 16th on the grass. We moved to the main track
at 1 mile. Once again, you play the guessing game. How much confidence do you have that the 2, the 3, I don't know, a bunch in here, the 6, the 8, the 9, the 11. I mean, I think this race is going to get decimated by it, and you have the 2 MTOs that are going to be on the far outside. But I will stay with Penner Ash, who is an offspring of Curlin, would be making the non-turf debut. They take blinkers off, good early speed. Javier Castellano obviously been dialed in, a nice resurgence. I have the 4 with the good early speed. You're a painter out of Awesome again. I don't know. I mean, bad races on the dirt, except for the Maiden Breaker, and then Hilliard for Mike Maker, who I think is probably on the list of coming out. Your thoughts? I mean, the MTOs to me are not the type that, like the other race, where I think they're going to dominate the wagering. Magnolia Midnight. This is going to be a mile. This is a sprinter. Good luck. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I thought they both looked pretty good.
Okay.
I used them, certainly.
All right.
But I think they legitimately are okay in here. 15, 16, 1 and 7.
All right.
Linda Rice first off the claim for Magnolia Midnight. That's going to attract a little attention just on that angle as well, much less getting the surface they want. Valentine's Day comes off a nice front end score last time, claimed out of that. And then Amani's Eagle, this one in the body of the field, but there's plenty of dirt, much more dirt than turf on the resume in the 10th. And final today, 15, 16, 1 and 7.
I'll be interested to see how the track plays today. Not only the weather, but see after day one what goes on. Who do you have up next for the good people on Racing Across America?
Should be fun. This morning, Will Pievich, the executive director of the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. I always like to get Will in a little bit early just to give folks a little bit of an inside look at what NYTHA does up here at the track and year round on the New York side of things. Cherie DeVoe, who had a really great weekend last weekend. Her More Than Looks won the Manila. It looks like a really good 3-year-old turfer, but she had some nice other runners we'll talk about and see what the plans are for some of those perhaps up here. She has plenty of runners all summer long at Ellis. And then Rich Eng, who I used to have on the show quite a bit, used to be the horse racing writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal or Journal Review. But Rich is in town, still based out in Las Vegas, but he's in town because the second edition of his book, Betting on Horse Racing for Dummies, the second edition is out. He's going to have a signing across the street at the Museum of Racing tomorrow, so going to have Rich in as well.
I think you need fresh new batteries. It's dragging.
Oh, well.
All right. He stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have the official announcement soon. I'm expecting some scratches. Remember, we are off the turf. Have a great Friday.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.